Hello and welcome, Morioh citizens, to another spoiler-free review. Today we will be covering The Great Pretender.
Now, The Great Pretender has 2 seasons. The second season is short, and the first season is also pretty short. It consists of 3 arcs the first season, and the second season is more of like one grand arc.
And as always, we're going to begin with the animation in this series. Now, the animation, let me just say, the colors are so vivid and so beautiful. Like,
anime,
I instantly fell in love.
This anime is a definition of aesthetic. It's so beautiful. I love it. It's so good to look at. And the intro also proves that.
Oh, the intro is like so stylized. The entire anime is just like, it's almost got that like style over substance feel to it. That like they put a lot of effort into like the style and the presentation of this one.
It's no surprise considering which studio produced this. I swear, Mappa and Wit are like 2 powerhouses in animation.
Right, when you see that with like their Attack on Titan and like Mappa just carrying the animation industry right now.
Yeah, Wit did a great job with the animation, and it just fits with the
really
colors and aesthetics and the effects. And you could see like they colored the sky differently.
It kind of reminds me of like Part 4 of JoJo, just a little bit. But
Yeah.
Compared to like other animes, like animation, like if you look at Jujutsu or Attack on Titan or even like Demon Slayer, they focus more on like the motion of it, while The Great Pretender kind of focus more on like the stills and like the colors.
And
Like that
it just fits overall with the jazzy soundtrack and theme.
It really does. And the soundtrack is one of my favorites of all time, actually. Like, I really love that, like,
Yeah.
genre that they went with. As AK said before, Season 1 consists of 3 arcs, while Season 2 consists of only 1 major arc. And each arc coincides with one of the main casts, which helps us dive into the characters section of this review.
The season 1, in my opinion, is a very character-driven show. These 3 different events that happen in the show, they're not really that connected. They're like in sequence, but they're not really connected as a whole in the story. But more, it focuses on the characters.
If this statement makes sense, it's almost like episodic in its arcs. Like, if you theoretically wanted to, you can watch like an arc by itself. Like, it's very rewatchable. Like, that's something I noticed. Just because, like, the whole, like, each arc kind of, like, has to do with one of the characters. And so you, like, see, like, their backstory and their, like, relation to who they're conning.
And a neat thing that you'll notice is there's a title card with the character that coincides with that arc.
And that even goes with, like, the title of the arc. Like, Los Angeles Connection, or I believe it was called, like, Wizard of Far East. It kind of like is in relation to the arc and to the character like itself, which I found like really like cool, and how like it kind of like hints to the plot a little bit, so you know what you're getting into.
The main character, his name is Makoto Edamura, and he's more developed in season 2 than season 1, but he has his own arc, kind of the first arc.
Like, he's kind of the character that like is an audience surrogate. Everything is introduced through him, and therefore like the audience.
He's
like,
new to all this.
And so like through Makoto, you see like the ins and outs of like the operations they do, like how it's done, like, you know, the plan that they're going with, and so on and so on.
And then there's my favorite character, Laurent.
He's kind of like the in a way he's kind of the mentor, when in reality like he's kind of like a pseudo mentor, if you get what I mean.
He's this like chill French guy.
Oh yeah, like the cast is like very like international. Like, we have like an American, we have an Iraqi, we have a French dude, we have a Japanese man. You're like, you know, it's really like spread all over the place, which I really like. Now let's move on to the plot.
As we said before, season 1 isn't really that plot related. The more it focuses on characters, but season 2, it's a plot as a whole.
Like, it's one that like spans the entire season and like builds on itself like over time. And the plot, with like all the twists and all the turns and stuff, it was very like exciting. It felt like a roller coaster at times, because
There's like almost a plot twist every single arc. And
exactly. Like, even some of them had like multiple at like once, which was like really like impressive. Like I haven't seen like plot twists like this since like Death Note, really.
I mean, you could do a lot of things about international con artists. Can't say much about the plot without spoiling it a little bit.
But basically, just know that the great pretender in this situation is the audience, because they pretend they can like predict the plot when in reality, you really can't.
Let's move on to the ratings.
Yeah. For animation, we're giving it a 9 out of 10.
The animation, as we said before, is very beautiful, and it just fits with the overall theme of the show and the aesthetics.
For characters, we're going with an 8 out of 10, because although it is very like character driven and a lot of focus is put onto them, there is some room for improvement. They are very likable.
They are likable, and yeah, the characters aren't really that. They're not that developed, but they are developed enough. And then for the plot, we put an 8 out of 10. Because it's not really a plot-driven show, it turns more plot-driven in Season 2, that's fine.
Right. It's just the nature of the show. And so overall, that gives us an 8.3 rating.
Great Pretenders on Netflix, it's a really good show.
Highly recommend it, it's a wild ride. We are the Morioh Citizens.
And we'll see you guys next time.